Hi, I'm Charlie Schmidt. I'm the most interesting person you've never heard of because I can do this.
Charlie Schmidt, you are the most interesting person I've ever met.
Gonna.
Now,
You need to
I'm
get out
pissing
more.
off a lot of my guests.
You haven't been out of town a lot.
I mean, anybody that shows up with those shoes, no socks, and that shirt
They match.
from Nihon University. Nihon? Why the shirt? Tell me about the story of that
Nihon
phenomenal
University
shirt.
Nihon means Japan, and so it's a Japan university, and it's a very big school. It's a college, a university.
Therefore, the university name.
I went to art school there in the early 70s for a year, and it's in Tokyo. And when I got there, I was surprised to find out that the enrollment of the school was just shy of the size of Spokane. It was 170-some thousand.
In the school?
Yeah, it's not one campus. They're all over.
Wow.
But that's a big school.
That's a big school.
It is a big...
So what made you want to go there? From Spokane. So you grew up here, right?
I was going to Wazoo as an art major, and there was a postcard in the art building that said, "Study art in Japan." And I thought, that
sounds cool.
That's a really good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Because I'm Polish and Italian, and I thought Europe is just so old-fashioned, and I didn't know anything about Japan, nothing. And so I took the postcard down so no one else would see it, and I submitted
That was mean.
a portfolio.
That was totally mean.
It was. I submitted a portfolio, and the whole thing was based on your portfolio, not your GPA or your looks or anything like that. So I had a chance. And so I put together a portfolio and submitted it, and I got chosen to go do that. So it was a scholarship.
Wow.
And
what year would this have been?
That was in 72.
1972.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was great.
Those were the times.
An apartment. Those were the times. So it was a great year. It was a really, really great year. That was my senior year. And then when I came back, going over there was, there's some culture shock because it's different. Really
1972
different.
Especially.
Yeah. And then, but coming back here the culture shock was way worse. And in fact, I'm still dealing with it. Because over there, at the time,
You're still dealing with it. This is 50 years ago, Charlie.
Yeah.
Why are you still dealing with it?
At the time, my hair was down to my butt, and my pants had so much paint on them that they would stand up by themselves.
We have a few pictures you've shared with us. We might be dropping those into this podcast, and this is the one with the long hair. Okay.
Logging boots in a country where you take your shoes off 300 times a day, and take an hour to put these things on, and just my whole culture was so different there that I was just naturally famous. Just I would go anywhere, and everybody wanted to be with me. And
we filmed in China for 10 days. My brother, blonde, me, and our client who was 6'10".
Yeah,
3 Americans. Everywhere we went, we had a crowd of probably 10 to 15 Chinese people just watching us going, we're freaks.
Yeah, it was great.
Right?
And
it is cool.
I didn't have to buy whiskey or sushi or anything. It was just like everything was taken care of. In fact, I got tired of it being so famous. And then when I came back, I was nobody. Because in Spokane, even in Spokane, it was like long hair, messy pants.
72.
Big deal.
Yeah, big deal.
It didn't matter. And so I tried to stand out, which wasn't easy. And it didn't work, and so I'm still, like I say, I'm still sort of in culture shock about returning. And I've been to Japan several times since then doing work, and it feels good every time.
Well, if you're from Spokane, nobody cares. You can be the most talented person in the world, and if you're from here or whatever.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
You and I both have done really well other places.
Yeah, I've been famous all over the place.
Nobody cares because you're just from here.
I did a show in Japan.
You can't be any good. You're from Spokane.
Yeah, for sure.
No, we actually did. I did a whole campaign. It was we didn't create it, just filmed it, but it was called the superiority complex, the inferiority complex of Spokane to Seattle and other places.
For sure,
it was real. Right?
Oh,
it's
indeed.
Not so bad now.
Well, it isn't all bad, though. I don't know if you remember that Doug Clark column where he wrote that this guy was predicting the end of times is coming on the coming up Tuesday, it was gonna be the end of the whole show. And Doug said, well, we're really not worried about it around here because everyone knows Spokane is behind. And so if it's the end of times everywhere else,
we got another couple years.
We got 2 years. That's exactly what he said. Yeah, and it did. The lights didn't go out anywhere, but
Oh yeah, Y2K or whatever.
yeah, every once in a while, these guys.
Wow. So you grew up in Spokane. Mm-hmm. Okay, where'd you grow up? What neighborhood were you? Where? I don't know the question.
East
I don't know the answer to
side,
this.
kind of by Second and Freya,
Oh yeah,
by the freeway. We lived right on the edge of the freeway,
yeah.
and so
I was just over there filming right near there. I was filming at St. Anne's Church.
yeah, I went to St. Anne's grade school.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
Right
poorest
there.
parish in town.
Absolutely, and it's fantastic right now.
Oh yeah,
They have cleaned it up, and
it's great.
immaculate. They have a program there. Catholic Charities is helping with it. We filmed this project about it, where they have hired homeless people to clean. They are the grounds crew, and they pay them, and it is immaculate work. They have incredible pride.
They had their
That
heart
place
in
is
the right
beautiful.
place. Yeah, it's great. It's better than most churches.
By far, it's the
I mean,
nicest
they
church in
house
this town.
refugees in the basement and feed them and stuff. It's like
incredible.
Anne Frank over there.
It's true.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, those are your roots. Those are your people.
That's where I
Ben
went to grade
Stucker's from
school.
that went to St. Anne's.
Who?
Ben Stucker, who's the city council
Yeah,
president.
that's right.
He went to St. Anne's.
Yeah. It was good. It was all nuns and priests, and I learned how to be good and guilty. I went to confession probably 8,000 times by the 8th grade, probably.
You and me are the same dude.
That was before I really got into it. So it wasn't. Yeah, you could go down on Saturday from 4 to 5 and 7 to 8. They had confession. And
The line was around the block.
oh, God, I was in that line every time. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I know all those prayers, and I was an altar boy.
Yeah, me too.
Knew the whole Mass in Latin, got lots of
Oh,
good
you're a
pictures
Latin guy.
like
See, I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I missed the Latin thing.
Deum qui laetificat juventutem meam, Father Prince, and
Wow.
6:30 Mass on Saturday when it was like 9 below zero. There was 2 people in church.
Yeah,
2.
and you're freaking there.
Yeah, it was just one altar boy at 6:30. They had to do everything, the water and the wine.
God.
It was hard.
Wow. So you go from there to prep.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because we both went there.
Well, prep was
All boys then.
It was that.
Was it all boys then?
It was all boys and
Yeah.
all Jesuits.
Yeah.
And they modeled themselves after the Nazis. No, they did. There's books about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
That they were into like extreme knowledge, extreme discipline,
Sure.
order, uniforms, male dominance.
Wow.
And they were tough on us.
So
I mean,
this would have been.
I graduated in '69.
Okay, so this is high Vietnam, right?
They
That
were
was-
tough on us. I mean,
Yeah,
they
it
would
was.
hit us
I
in
heard.
the face
Yeah,
with their fist.
you'd fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very, very violent and hacks. And
It was the
thing
culture
is
then.
They called it preparatory school, Gonzaga Prep. And what they were preparing you for was, and I didn't know until after, was like to be a lawyer or a doctor or a scientist or mathematician.
Right.
Art was, they didn't even have art, not even one.
Really?
Yeah, in 4 years I didn't have one art class. If you got caught drawing, you got hacks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doodling.
Yeah.
And have you seen the place now? I have a friend who.
Oh, yeah,
who
they
teaches there.
love art.
It has its own incredible building.
Right.
If you've been over there, it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, we had 0 art, not even one art class in
Wow.
4 years.
Wow.
And so for a guy that then was destined to be an artist, it was like really weird to.
Was Father Zender there? Do you remember?
Sure.
So he was as close as you probably came to that, because that guy did
We
immaculate
did those wooden
woodwork.
things in the library.
He made all. It was wood shop.
Yeah,
right?
how they could have him
Phenomenal.
and then not think that there was even going to be one student who would have that
Exactly.
spirit.
Right.
Yeah, Zender was cool.
He was cool.
He really
and his
was.
work, he was quiet, and his work was just immaculate. He was.
He had it made because he got to do all the stuff he wanted and didn't have to pay his doctor bills or rent or anything.
Exactly.
Some guys made that work.
That wouldn't work for me, but okay.
No, me neither.
Yeah. So you graduate in '69.
Yeah.
And then you go to WSU.
Right.
Was this Vietnam draft thing
Oh,
going
it
on?
was-
what was
oh,
that
yeah.
like? I've never really talked to
Good
anybody about
question.
that.
Those were the days. It was a student deferment, I think it was called. I can't remember the categorization.
4-H or something.
4-H or something like
yeah.
that. No, that was the kids that raised the goats
that's right.
and stuff. Similar.
It was
though.
4 something.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And so I got my student deferment, and it was all fine and good, but then they abolished it like about my second year because they deducted, which was true, that it favored people who had money. So if you had money enough to go to college, you wouldn't get drafted. So just poor kids were getting killed. So they knew that was wrong.
Yeah.
So then they had the lottery, and I just got a good lottery number, 284.
Oh, wow.
And which was a really good one, yeah.
And lots of friends who didn't get a low number.
Oh, lots of guys. One friend of mine got 1.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Did he make it through?
Yeah, he lived.
Okay. Wow, crazy. Wow. So this art thing, because you are really I mean, I don't know what to describe you when I talk about. I was telling people like, oh, I got this amazing artist coming on, Charlie. And I'm like, you're almost more performance art or modern art, or there is no way to label it, which is why it's just the coolest art.
I don't know what it is. It was when I was at Wazoo, because G-Prep had prepared me to be, I figured, a chemist.
Sure.
So I took chemistry, and that was my major, and so it was just as boring as ever at college. It was just terrible.
Chemistry, come on.
It was worse than high school
for a guy like
chemistry.
you,
Oh
come on.
God! But I just thought I sort of bought that life is just supposed to hurt like that.
Yeah.
So I was doing my chemistry thing, and one night I was walking back to the dorm. It was cold out, and it was just getting dark. And I walked by a building that said Fine Art on it, a big building with towers, and it was like credible. And I thought, no one told me about that.
Right.
You know,
that wasn't an option. They didn't even tell you.
I couldn't even spell. I got punished for art. But I always painted and drew and did build things. I mean, since day one.
Right. It's in your
So
DNA.
I thought, I'm going to go in there. And so I did, and it was going on 5 o'clock, so students were all gone. But the one room on the 3rd floor that was really, really lit up, you could even see it from the outside, was the gallery. And so I walked up and I looked at it. It was empty, but it had a box fan. Every place there would have been a painting. And the box fan was was going full blast and blowing where there would be a painting. So there were like a dozen of them. And then there was a sign in the middle of the entrance, and it said, what this gallery needs is a change of air. And boy, it hit me harder than any chemistry formula, that's for sure. So I was just standing there at that moment, soaking in that sign, and somebody came up behind me and said, what do you think?
What a great question, first of all.
Oh, I owe that guy my life. His name was George Lasner. He's a glassblower. He's dead now. And I said...
Did he teach there, or just...
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, I think I could do this. Because I was already doing junk like that.
You're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
The freedom that must have given you.
Well, why don't you? And I said, well, because I don't go to this building and I'm a chemistry major. And he said, well, look, it's not 5 o'clock yet. Your advisor is probably still in his office at the chem building. Why don't you go over there and get your folder and bring it to me, and I'll be your advisor, and you can be an art major.
He's an angel.
He did that. I could cry right now telling you this story.
Yeah.
He did that.
Wow.
And I went and did it. It was like,
Whatever you say.
I went and did it.
Of course you did.
And I brought
You must
it
have been the
back to
happiest
him,
guy in the world.
And he just straightened it up and put it on his desk, and he said, okay, here's the new classes that you start attending. And they were all 100 level classes, and he taught one of them, and everything was different. I never looked back. I had to call my parents that night and tell them. Because we didn't really have money. I wasn't raised with money. So for them to send me to prep cost money.
Oh, yeah.
And even the state school was money. And
Yes,
then now
sir.
Chucky's going to be an artist. My dad referred to artists as feather merchants. I've Googled it since, and I
know
can't
what that
remember what it
means.
said. It wasn't good, though.
It's not good.
It's not a career you want to brag about.
They sell by the pound.
And they were real quiet, and, like on the phone, but it was okay. And so it was like, there I was. And so
Oh, that must have been a huge relief.
Oh, God.
So did you have brothers and sisters?
I have 3 older sisters.
3 older sisters?
Yeah, no brothers.
So by then, they were just like, oh, let's just let this kid go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you've
I
been the
don't
first.
know.
There's no way, dude.
I wish I could have heard what their conversation was when we hung up about what they thought.
Well, they probably knew anyway. They
I
knew
guess
the talent.
it's like
They've
finding out
seen
your
it.
kid's gay or something. No, it
Well,
is.
they knew
we knew
We knew you
just
had this
nobody
talent,
else.
right? Yeah. I mean, you had the incredible talent. They saw it. They knew.
Well, it's in there. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So you go off on this crazy career. So when
Yeah.
I met you at KAYU.
Of course.
TV.
Yeah.
And I'm 21, 22, something like that. My brother Jim had worked with you for a while.
lot.
A lot. Yeah. Way more than I had. And so I get this gig. You were Charlie, the host of the Kids Club.
Right.
The KYU Kids Club. And you were
Right.
like, we would do promos all the time.
And where did that come from?
I don't know. The mind of Dave
I
Tanner
don't
or
either.
Dave Zachariah, who was a guest on this podcast. Dave was just on.
Oh, I love Zach.
Oh my God, Zach! Do you see the podcast? You just got to watch it. It's incredible.
Really?
I mean, the guy he ran promotions for NBC's. He, like must see TV. That was
Yeah.
his. That was his,
Really?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was in the
he's a
room. when-
smart guy.
Super smart.
And just
it was
cool.
I think he and Dave Tanner, who really ran the place over there they were my bosses.
Yeah.
I think Dave. I don't know. I don't really know. I shouldn't say that because there was a whole promotions arm of some pretty smart, creative people. But whatever, you became the host of the Kids Club.
Yeah, and I don't even know how it happened. It was like one day Hammaker called me up, and I barely even
So
knew
Bob
who he
knew you.
was. Yeah, and he said, "How would you like to do these things?"
Well, first of all, he
where-"
said it out of the side of his mouth. Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, and,
love Bob.
and I didn't even know exactly what he meant, but it sounded fun because I could do weird crap on camera,
Exactly.
and it would be on TV, and
Exactly.
I'd get paid for it. And I thought, I don't even know what it is, but I'm ready to go.
You were great.
It worked. Thank
It
you.
worked. No, you were
I
great. We always had
loved it.
fun,
I
different
loved it.
stuff, and you did join the Kids Club. We would do this thing or whatever, and then we went to Seattle. You don't remember. You
Yeah,
would
for
not
the- with
remember
the
this.
baseball
With the
team.
baseball team, you
Yeah.
do remember.
Yes, I do.
Amazing. So it was you and I and I think Val, the producer.
Right.
And she and I are pretty young, and she's like the old, sage at this point, probably 24, and I'm 21, and I'm shooting camera or whatever. And it was the two of us and you. That was it. We had no gear.
I
It was
know.
just
No,
shitty.
no direct.
There's
Nobody's saying
more
what do you-
cameras in this room right now than we ever had there.
Hammaker was so pissed at me about that.
Why?
Oh, afterwards he called me in his office and he said,
After the Seattle trip?
"Yeah."
What?
He said, "What did you think you were doing? Who do you think you are?" He's very intimidating.
Oh, Bob. I mean, he
And
stands
I
right
said,
next to you.
I
He's a
don't,
big
I
dude.
don't know. What do you mean? I thought, we had a good time, and I thought it went well. And he goes, "You just acted like a fool
Where?
in those spots because I was silly and I made like I was going to catch it, and then it went and it hit over here." And
Well, you're being
What
Charlie
was
the
I-
Ghost of the Kids
What was
Club.
I supposed to do? Pretend I could play baseball?
Right.
And he was just irate. He said, "We need to portray a smarter image for you." And I thought, well,
You're the host of the Kids Club. Come on.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Well, because what I remember of that was we shot a bunch of them and we had no time.
Oh yeah, it was
And
like you
but
get
we
to be on
got-
the field for 10
We
minutes.
got the manager of the Seattle Mariners, Jim Lefevre.
Yeah.
Was the manager.
Yeah.
And we got him.
Yeah, I thought we got good shots.
got good
I
stuff,
felt
and we
like
got
I was
there and
on
it was
the
like-
moon.
Like the lights were off in the Kingdom. And we had like 1 hour or something
Yeah.
to do all these bits. You running around the bases, and I don't even remember.
Oh yeah, there was a whole
But
list
you
of
had to do a
stuff.
bunch of stuff, and I was just sweating. We were just working so hard, and they just happened to. I'm like, we can't shoot this. There's no freaking light in the King. You're not gonna light the Kingdom. Come on, it's
I know,
dark
it probably
in there.
costs about
Oh my
$1,000
God.
just to
All of a
turn them
sudden,
on.
Right before we get there, we're standing there. I'm like, well, I don't know what we're gonna do. Lights going. It was like Major League Baseball is testing the lighting today, and we just got lucky. And so I'm like, this is great. We got all the
I've
lights
been
on.
lucky.
So all I remember is we're doing these bets, and Jim, you're standing there with Jim Lefevre, the manager of the Mariners, at the Kingdom on the field, and Val, the producer, bless her heart, she doesn't know baseball at all.
She didn't know anything.
She didn't know anything about baseball, and I knew baseball pretty well. I mean, I'm a sports fan, and so I'm like, she goes, well, we want you to do a batting tip. She says it to Jim Lefevre, and I just go, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. This is one of 26 dudes who run a Major League Baseball team in the world.
Right.
And he just goes, and he's an intense little guy, if you remember.
I do.
He folds his arms and he just goes, the pitching coach will talk about pitching. The hitting coach will talk about hitting. I'm the manager. That's the way it's going to be. Because that's the way it ought to be.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I
remember it verbatim.
Well, you probably got the footage.
Verbatim, I do, and I just remembered it, and I just
man.
went, oh my god! I tried to tell you, he ain't gonna do that. And so he gets like, we did a 30-second promo, with you and him, and he one take, just boom, 29 seconds, and it was just like. Amazing. Like,
yeah.
I'm out of here. Good. We got it. I'm the happiest man in the world.
Yeah, we could get a lot done in a short amount of time.
And they were cool. I never knew that. I never knew Bob didn't like them because I thought they were great.
Oh, he hated it. And then one time, like we would meet like one day a week, I think, and shoot like 800 promos,
yes.
4 30-second spots.
That's right.
And I mean, a voracious amount of stuff, and it was good.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, we were really ready.
We all got to. There were some cool people there. I mean, Jim and Dave Tanner, Dave Zachariah.
Oh yeah, we were ready.
I was just a kid, I can't believe they sent me to Seattle with you. I was like, what am I going for? But okay,
we had it working.
And then it was good.
One time I got there, and Val said, I got to talk to you in the lunchroom, and I thought, well, okay. So we went in there, and she said, Bob needs me to talk to you about we need to be able to get more done in the day.
Are you kidding me?
And I said, show me the list. And it was like
20 promos in a day.
With all kinds of chroma key and props and special effects.
Oh, yeah. We had no clue what it took to get stuff produced.
And I said, a normal client would take a day to just do one.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd be lucky to get it done.
You would be absolutely lucky.
Yeah.
No,
And
wow.
I said, and we're getting all these done. And I said, you're going to have to tell him that I said no. And I've never heard anything back about it.
Good.
But he sent her in to say, you got to go faster.
Well, yeah, I've told the story before, but, he pulled me away to go work at the Tri-City station.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. Do you? Wow. And I had a semester left at Gonzaga to finish. And he goes, listen, I'm make a deal with you. I need you to go down to Tri-Cities and start our production department. Like me, I'm like 21 or something. I'm like, thank God,
well,
Jim and Dave are like,
he
we'll
knew
take care
though
of
that you were sharp.
Yeah, he did, I guess. But he knew that Dave and Jim would help me out.
Right, and
so
they
I
were
just
sharp
went down
too.
there
They were hot.
They were good, dude. Those guys, yeah.
No
still,
kidding. They were as good as any other 5 people at a production
yes,
facility.
no kidding. They're still.
That's why all that worked.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, of course. And Zach too. I mean, those guys did
They knew it,
work.
but they were humble about it.
They weren't jerks about it.
No.
No egos. And so, he goes, but look, the deal is you have to finish college. When you're done with your time there, you have to finish college, and I'll pay for your last semester.
That was generous.
At Gonzaga. And I'm like, back then.
It's not cheap.
No, it isn't, even back then. And I'm like, deal. So I went and did my 1 year, 8 months, 7 days, in the Tri-Cities at that station. And then I get hired away. Dave Tanner leaves to North by Northwest and hires me there. And so I go to North by, and, I'm like, well, I'm not going to call Bob and ask him to pay for my school. And he calls me up. And I go, when I told him I was leaving, I got this job, and I did tell him I was leaving. He goes, okay, well, you're going to finish college. I go, well, yeah, I'm going to finish college. He goes, well, I'm paying for it. He paid for it.
That's something.
Right?
Yeah.
That guy was... I always admired him. I mean, he was this good negotiator, and he'd press you and stuff. But he was always great with me. I really appreciated him. He was smart,
would come
brilliant
through.
guy.
Yeah,
brilliant guy.
He'd do what he said he was going to do.
Oh man, to take that little station that had no business even. I mean, at the time, right? It was a gutsy move, and
he was able to surround himself with some.
He found great talent, and he got stuff done, and NFL football shows up, and he did great,
Yeah.
But he was a risk taker. I always appreciated that.
Yeah, he did.
The Seattle trip, the other thing that was cool about that was you were like the coolest old guy I knew. because you were like the first hipster that before there were these damn hipsters. Now
Oh, it's
you were the
everybody
first
that-
hipster, and so you're Seattle. Your wife's from Japan. First of all, how did you meet Joanne? Because I'll ask you about that, but she's this beautiful, stunning woman, and you were like the
Thank
coolest guy. And you're like, all right, we're done shooting our stuff. Let's go. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna follow this guy. And you took us into Chinatown,
Yeah.
at that time Chinatown, now
Yeah.
the International District. And we walk into the scariest Chinese restaurant in the world. So dark. Every dude, we walk in, door opens up, it's just dead quiet, and there's 10 dudes with beards longer than that, all direct from China. I mean, these guys, it was like walking into
Yeah, it was real
China
Chinese
1800, and they all just turn and look at us like, who are these greenhorns? And you're just like, come on, let's go. And you sit down and you're like, the scariest restaurants have the best food. And you're ordering and you're talking in,
you're making
in
me
their
hungry.
language. And I was just like, this is incredible. I want to be that guy.
Oh,
Someday
you're
I
too
want to
nice.
be the coolest guy. And
You're too nice.
No, but it was the best meal I've ever had in my life, I think. Outside of Venice was better, but it was terrific.
I would
and
love
I was
some
just
of
like,
that
wow,
right
you
now.
just knew how to get shit done. I mean, you just knew your way. Of course,
That's kind of you.
yeah. But how did you meet Joanne? It's Joanne.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Well,
I got that right.
she was working for a company that managed restaurants, and they had about a half a dozen Taco Times, one downtown by the opera house called Casablanca,
Oh yeah.
and then another one kind of by my old studio on Division Street called Rocking Horse.
Oh yeah.
And she was the director of marketing and advertising. And so she was doing a print ad for Rocking Horse, and she had a designer. I don't know if you remember Bob Takeshita.
Oh, I love Bob Takeshita.
Yeah,
In
he's
fact, I
dead,
met his.
you know.
I know I met his daughter not long
she's
ago.
so cool.
She's fantastic, and I
Amanda.
was just like, Bob was. He was also the coolest.
He
dude.
was
He was
really
way cool.
uber cool.
Uber cool.
Yeah.
Bob Takeshita was
Yeah.
rock star. Man, I
So
love that guy.
he was helping her with design work, and she said, well, how do I cast this thing? How do we find somebody to be the talent, to look like they're bored with their sack lunch? And he said, Charlie, you got to call Charlie.
He looks bored with anything.
So she called me and said, would you come and do this thing? And so I did. And I fell in love with her, like, at the shoot.
Oh yeah.
And so I wrote on the invoice, it was $50 I got for that job. $50, and I wrote on the invoice, P.S., will you marry me? And I mailed it to her, and once I dropped it in the mailbox, I felt like Kramer on Seinfeld.
what did I do?
I had to get it back out. What am I going to do? I couldn't sleep for 3 days, so finally.
Back when that's how you communicated,
Yes. Yeah, it was a
right?
carbon.
It wasn't some instant
No,
thing on a phone where you
no,
can
it was a carbon copy of from
slide
an
right.
invoice book. Right. Exactly.
or whatever. I don't even know.
And so
Swipe.
I called her and I said, look, you're about to get a very embarrassing invoice from me. And she goes, why? What? And I explained to her. And I said, well, would you just at least have a drink with me? And so we went out and ended up getting married in pretty short order.
Wow.
And it's worked out. It's almost 40 years.
Is that right?
Yeah. We're getting old, you know that.
Yeah, you are.
I am. 72 last
You're
week.
72?
Yeah.
Dude, you're the coolest 72-year-old in the world.
Man.
Seriously, are you 72?
Yeah,
You do
last
not,
week.
Man. How come you seem younger than me?
Oh, that's not true. You got big energy. Keep it. Keep it. You come from an energy family.
Oh, man. Yeah, I do.
You do. You
I got
guys
a
have
big
energy
family.
in your
We got a
genes.
big family.
Yeah.
Well, my son works for me now. And my daughter helps out, so that's really
That's
that was
so
his
cool.
idea with this podcast. Was all his idea. He's the smartest.
Oh,
those
yeah.
guys.
I
are
learned so
brilliant.
much from my daughter.
Oh my gosh.
She's just amazing.
So how's your daughter?
She's 25. She went to GU, majored in applied math, went to grad school in Oregon, and then applied for one job and got it. She is actually a rocket scientist at Blue Origin.
No way.
Yeah, she is.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and it's all secret.
Wow.
She can't even tell me what
It's
she's
all
doing.
from her mom.
Yeah, For sure. Every drop.
That chemistry degree that you
Well, yeah, it's true. Yeah, and she's just eating it up.
Wow.
The pay is great.
Wow, because my
everything
son's
about it.
27, so they're about the same
Yeah.
same generation. That's an amazing group of people, by the
It
way.
is.
That
yeah.
under 30.
I hear people talk about people in that age group, and they say they're lazy and they
What
think
are they talking about?
my kid is
No, mine, not
lazy.
at all. Nobody here, everybody here is under 30. Mostly,
Yeah,
they're all
she
amazing.
doesn't need anything.
Dude, I
from
don't.
me.
I think that's a bunch of crap.
I do too.
They're just.
Say where you?
They
What
work
kids are
super
you
hard.
looking at?
No, and they're just they're.
Well,
yeah,
Gonzaga
great.
was a good college for her. It really was. She learned so much,
a great
and
school.
not just about academics, but about humanity. It was just really the best place for her to be. My wife works at GU.
Oh, she does.
So we
Okay.
got free tuition,
What
which
did
also helped.
What does she do there?
She's been there 30 years
I didn't know
as
that.
student publications director.
Oh, is that right?
So they put out the newspaper every week.
Oh, yeah, the
and
bulletin.
the yearbook, and
Okay.
other literary
Wow,
publications.
I
and
did
stuff.
not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's been there
that's so
forever.
cool.
It's a great place.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
so good to her and us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we're family.
It is family.
Oh.
Dale Goodwin, all those guys,
Oh,
right?
it's just the best.
Pete
Just-
Tormey, all those
Yeah.
guys. They're still around doing cool stuff.
There's so many cool parties.
There's so
that we
many
go
good
to,
people
and-
there.
Yeah,
I know,
And
I'm
the
really
food's
lucky.
always real good. It is. There's drinks and
Since that basketball team has gotten even better,
Oh,
Charlie. Let's be honest.
Man, those guys. Did you see today's paper? There's a lot of stuff about the team.
Oh,
New
they got a
guys
new player.
coming. Yeah.
Oh, they got that new guy from Kansas. Stole him from Kansas.
Right.
We're gonna have to go to a game. I have season tickets. You want to go this year?
I would love to.
All right, let's go. We're gonna go.
She
to a
gets
game.
tickets, but they're way up in the nosebleed.
Well, mine aren't that great, but they're they're fine. I
Yeah,
like it.
it's good. GU team is just great.
It's fun
We're
watching
not
them.
really that into sports, but we are into GU.
Well, it's not sports. I always say
Right.
Gonzaga basketball's. It's not. It's like an event. It's a different.
You're
deal.
right.
It's different.
It's
you don't
not
really have a
sports.
choice. It's sort of
a
like
culture. It's like
a culture.
It's a
It's
TV
part of this
series
town.
that every week you get to.
Especially if you grew up here.
Do you ever see that show on cable called Ted Lasso?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I love.
Isn't it cool?
It's fantastic. You liked it.
It's hilarious.
It's phenomenally written.
Oh,
The characters are
the
great.
characters are
characters are
beyond
great.
Why can't network TV come up with stuff like that?
Because network TV is not what it used to be.
They
man.
just are stuck in the
I
past.
don't know.
or
I don't
some
even.
damn thing.
Yeah, I don't know. No.
That Ted Lasso.
Well,
show.
because he drops the F bomb gets dropped about 7,000 times in that
Yeah,
show.
it does.
And it's the most positive, happy show
You learn
on
values
on
from
the
it.
air.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean?
You learn how to take care
they
of family
sneaky
and
hide
friends.
behind the F word.
Oh, they are just the characters. I love them.
That's
Coach.
great. Oh my gosh. What's your favorite part of Japan as you look back? What did it teach you?
Well, organization and cleanliness. Just that it's so put together and so neat and so everything's
Impeccable.
so compact, impeccable.
There's an impeccableness there.
Yeah. It's
in that
what
culture.
happens when people can cooperate.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
because it's so small and there's
Yes.
so many people.
Oh, it's nuts. Yeah, I love Japan. I love it.
So you've had beyond the art you make, which is how would you describe it?
You mean the fine art,
The
like
fine
the
art.
gallery stuff? Well, painting really is my wheelhouse, and when I need a boost in just my life in general, I know it's time to paint, and it may not mean I'm going to sell a painting. It just means that's the fuel for.
For what you need right
This-
now to be
right.
inspired by that. Because you sent me some pictures. I asked you to send me some pictures
Yeah.
of stuff because it's.
Well, I
How
didn't
do you
take
explain
very long.
Charlie
2
without
seconds.
seeing stuff? And I'm going to just show you a couple because we'll cut away to them. I'm hoping here, but one that I just was like, "What the hell is going on there?"
Good. That's what I like to elicit. That. Hey,
Did I not save that one? This one. Holy! What is this?
that is at the.
You're in a, just for those who are listening, you're in a bed.
That's at the top of the hotel. What's the name of that hotel?
Oh, the Rit Path.
No, yeah, but it's right by where my brother-in-law used to have the clock shop there. What's it called now?
Where? What
Down
street?
about 3rd and Arthur or Sherman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's like right by the convention center there.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the hotel, but that's the top floor, and it's like the ballroom and all the lights.
So there's like
and,
all this equipment.
Yeah.
And you're in bed. What is
Well,
going on?
I
Are you,
got
like, taking
asked by the president of an outfit called the Entrepreneurs of America Spokane chapter or something.
Wow.
And he said, I want you to come and give a talk to our annual meeting about creativity and how you turn it into a living. And so I thought, well, you asked for it.
Do you know who
So
you're
I
asking?
that's a bed I'm in. So that day, I'm bringing an old stained mattress up the elevator of that place, and all this equipment, and it was all run by that little dashboard I have in the bed, switches and stuff.
Was this the Shiloh Inn?
Yeah, well, it might
back
be
in the
called
day?
Shiloh. It's still there.
Yeah, but it was pretty swanky back then.
Yeah.
No, I
Oh,
think
it was fancy.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing was based on I made like that when it was time to do the show that I had overslept and I didn't show up, but I'm there doing that. So I had a script, and I had the guy who hired me, Steve Blewett from Washington Water Power, because I did a lot of design for them at the time. And I had him read these scripts, and one of them was, hey, Charlie, it's 7 o'clock and everybody's here, and we don't see any Charlie. What's the deal? And then it would just it'd hang up, And so I had all that choreographed and put together so that...
Playing on the voicemail or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm sleeping and I can't wake up, and the bed is mounted on 2 exercise machines. And then when I'd go back to sleep, then that would show my portfolio. I had a 6-screen slideshow and fog machines and all kinds of crap. I mean, I would
Eclectic
never do
stuff.
that now. It was too much. It would take me a month to set that up.
Stressful.
Oh,
But it must have been awesome.
it was good. Yeah, the audience was just going like, "What?
What? Who is this guy?
And they remembered it. That's for darn sure.
Wow.
Hey, so I don't forget. There's something that you got to know, and this is the first time that this is being. It isn't a secret, but I've never told any media or press that there is a company that's contacted me in LA called VMI Worldwide. And if you look at their website, I mean, they make movies, real movies, shot on film, dozens of them. They just finished one with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and they make real movies, and they're successful. And they're doing a documentary on me, my art, and
What?
my cat.
You're
Yes.
kidding.
Yeah.
I had no idea about this.
Yeah.
This is the first we get to announce it.
It's called, yes.
This is an exclusive for the MIP
it
podcast.
It is, and it's called, the name of it right now, the working title is Keyboard Cat, The Anatomy of a Meme. And it starts with me in my childhood and G-Prep and no art and hacks. Everything we've been talking about.
Incredible.
And then how it all started
How
happening.
did they find you?
It is just as weird as anything. The guy that owns the company, his aunt is a friend of my wife's.
Welcome to Spokane.
Yeah, no
The
kidding.
world.
Yeah. And so they're up here, and I've spent the last 2 months plus just getting ready for this, putting together all the B-roll.
All the stuff you've had.
Oh, from my whole life, my childhood, even the 8mm film, everything.
Wow. How great.
And then lining up interviews with my wife, my kid, the cat's veterinarian.
They didn't want to talk to me about our trip to Seattle, the Jim Lefevre, the Seattle Mariners.
Kids Club is in it. They said, "What about all
should
that
be.
stuff?" So I sent them a dozen
Oh,
Kids
good. You
Club
had some
spots.
footage.
Oh, I got them all.
1-inch tape.
3/4.
3/4. Had a baby.
But it's all right.
It's fine.
And all the
It'll be
historical
cool.
stuff
The
is
older it
okay.
looks for that, the better, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
No, 3/4.
And
Oh,
so
yeah. There's
there-
only one 3/4-inch machine in this town, you know.
I believe it.
You know who owns it? Dan Mortimer.
Really?
I think so.
I'm not surprised.
I thought Jim, my brother, might, but he's
I had
no,
a
think
few
Dan's going.
U-matic, and I got rid of all that stuff.
3/4. Nobody knows what we're talking about.
No, really, we're talking to an empty audience.
Yeah.
They're here.
They're here now?
No, they're here August 23rd through 29th.
How cool.
Shooting all kinds of locations
Wow.
and people and
Oh my gosh,
schedules.
that is
And then
great.
the last night of the thing, we're staging like I'm having a big art show, but it's not a real art show. We're just faking one at Colva Sullivan Gallery. I don't know if you know where
Oh
that
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, well, we
Like a
did
party?
just get like a killer gig. It's like put Keyboard Cat like on the map.
What is Keyboard Cat?
Keyboard Cat is my famous cat that went viral.
I don't. So
That
tell me, is this the thing about the toy, the cat toy?
Yeah.
Well,
it's-
finish your story. So they're coming on the
Well, it's
23rd.
all the same.
They're coming to film that.
Right. And then the last night is this big art opening with all kinds of stuff. What I've heard is that the mayor is going to be there and give us an honorary
Key to the city or something.
officials meme of Spokane City
So when is this?
status. That's the 29th.
I
at
wanna
Colva.
go.
Oh, you have to go.
Oh, good. Okay, I get to go.
And there'll be a
my
crew
God.
there. They're bringing 2 cameras
Oh,
and
fantastic.
lighting and sound guys
That's
and all that.
great.
And the documentary, well, I really shouldn't explain that how it really unfolds, but
Don't give it away.
we got a real incredible job for the cat. I mean, he's made good money all along.
Okay, wait. So you have a cat.
Yeah, I have
So
a cat,
what
and
did
in 1984, I was unemployed, and I had a camera, with the only public-owned video camera in Spokane. Everything else was owned by TV stations.
Is that right?
Yeah, me and some friends bought it, and we were going to go into business. And
Well, you were going to make a movie or something. Remember
yeah,
that?
they got tired of it, and they got bailed out, and I got stuck with the camera. So I didn't have any money or anything, but I did have a camera. So I just started making weird videos because I could.
Yeah. And you're Charlie.
I made this
and-
one in
yeah.
'84 of my cat playing the piano.
I think I do now remember this.
It's blue. And yeah, while we're doing this, you should just Google Keyboard Cat and just go to just Keyboard Cat.
I'm gonna.
He's got a
everybody who's
Wikipedia
listening to
page
this is
that's
totally
a mile
gonna do
long.
this. All right, I'm doing a Keyboard Cat.
Yeah. And so
It's YouTube.
what's that?
YouTube, or is it just Google?
Anywhere.
Wow.
Just on the World Wide Web,
Wow.
And nothing happened with it for years.
Oh my
and
God.
then
This.
well, that's one of them.
Oh my God.
But if you just Google Keyboard Cat and just
Yeah. Well, there's an ad.
and go to images on Keyboard Cat.
Keyboard Cat images. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so nothing happened for a long time. Just it was a fun video, and then my kid was born, and I wanted to show her. Finally, she got to be 1 or 2, and I wanted to show her some of my old funny videos. And the tapes were breaking up because they were so old.
Right.
So I stopped everything I was doing and spent money I didn't have buying a computer and a
Oh
bunch of
my
gear.
God.
And I digitized all of my stuff. Yeah. He's got over 1 billion hits.
This is money now, dude.
Oh, it is definitely money.
It's been money.
Yeah. He's made well over $1 million for us.
You're kidding me.
No.
So
And
fantastic.
we
I
and
love
we
this so much.
and we so then it just went and
It
so
went
then
ridiculous, didn't it?
yeah, because in '84 there was no internet or YouTube
No.
or anything.
So then when it does, when
So
YouTube
then
shows
when I-
up, then
when
you're
I
one of the early.
digitized them,
You're one of
yes.
the early YouTube stars.
When I digitized all this stuff, a friend of mine said, you should put these on YouTube, and I didn't even know what it was. And now I have almost 500 videos on my channel, and it was the second one that I put up, and that was in '07. And then in '09, it went like cuckoo bonkers viral.
Wow.
I mean, it was on Wolf Blitzer's show, all within a few
CNN.
days. Ashton Kutcher named it the best video of all time on Twitter.
Which of course it
So
is.
it just started going nuts, and we just started getting work like left and right all over the world. We've done commercials, you name it. I
Oh
mean,
my
we've done them.
gosh.
We've done commercial. It was just he was in the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
What?
A recent one was Sam Jackson.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even know this.
Oh,
I love that I don't know this, actually.
Well, you should read the Wikipedia. It's really impressive. And so
Oh, my God.
it just went nuts and started making money. So the next thing you know, I get a manager and a lawyer in LA, and we're just like turning deals like crazy.
Of course. You better
And
be.
we did commercials here for Wonderful Pistachios, Starburst Candy,
Oh my
Starburst Candy in
gosh.
China.
Keyboard Cat is a video-based internet meme. Its original form was a video made in 1984 by Charlie Schmidt of his cat Fatso, seemingly playing a musical keyboard. Though manipulated by Charlie Schmidt off camera, of course you manipulated this
No.
to a cheery tune. Wow. While Schmidt had uploaded the video himself to YouTube in 2007. Wow. This is crazy.
And then
How fun.
A whole bunch of people stole it then, because at that time people thought if it's on the internet it's free.
Oh.
So
you have to crack down on that.
So we
that's
really
been
did.
a lot of work.
Oh, it was, but that was where we made the most money.
I bet.
I mean, Fox News, Fox Sports, MGM,
Because they all used it illegally. Oh, wow.
Burger King,
Wow.
you name it.
Wow. So when I look at that, I think here's a guy out of work,
Yeah,
does something he
with my cat.
completely counterintuitive
Right.
just because you're creative.
Well,
and it was
I
fun to do,
wanted
and it's
to
who
do
you
it.
were.
I was bored, and it made me happy to
Right,
have that. There
and-
was no client in
No.
Spokane for a cat playing the piano. There still isn't.
No, there's no client. No, there's not. So, but what does that say about creativity and the monetization of it, and people trying to chase these things that aren't
and
really
people
going to be
ask me-
chaseable?
I've written 3 books. If you Google Keyboard Cat books, you'll see them. People ask me, how do you do this? Because they think, we got this guy here, and we can figure out how you do this.
Oh yeah, everybody thinks you can duplicate
But you
that.
can't do it on purpose. And it's like the lottery. How do you win? You buy a ticket.
Right.
No buy, no win.
Right.
And you buy, you still might not win.
But you
So-
also did something that was so you
Right.
for you.
So, yes, good
And you
point.
didn't really care
That's the other
the
ingredient
outcome.
is be yourself inimitably, full blast every day.
All the time, which you are
And then what
beautifully
happens,
doing today, by the way.
Thank you. And then what happens. What you get is
Right.
what you're supposed to get.
Right. And so what?
So, recently, we got our biggest deal of all. YouTube and Google bought the rights to the clip, and they just downloaded it from YouTube. I don't have to deliver anything. They just take
It's all there.
and it was in a spot for them in the Super Bowl this year, and it was this last spot before kickoff.
Oh my God.
And I'm not supposed to say how much, but it was multiples of hundreds of thousands of bucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll edit that out if you want me to.
No, I don't care. No, I don't care.
Well, good for you.
So I have a car. I bought a new car.
Well, you should have bought in 10.
Yeah.
What's your car?
It's an Acura,
Nice.
the XDM or MDX or something.
Because what I remember also is you've always been doing these kind of, I would say it's performance art, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, it is. Like, that's not fine art. That's not drawing. That's not, that
It's
is a
somewhere-
scheming,
it's-
cool
it's-
idea that's just funny.
Yeah, it's like
And
drama,
and a
sort
lot of the stuff like that performance that you did where they asked you to talk about creativity, it's always prop driven somehow.
Right.
A keyboard or a wacky TV, that poster of you.
Something.
Or one side of you. That
Right.
was not
Very well
photoshopped.
put. Right.
That photo of you, which we had hanging in our office at KYU, I always just stare at it still.
It's in the
is
documentary.
You completely in half. One is accountant guy, and the other one is
I shaved half of my head
you
for
shaved
that.
half your head. That is not Photoshop. That's actually
Right.
a
Who
set.
Who would do that?
You would do that. That's
It
why I
was
think
just
you're the coolest
crazy.
guy ever. Like, you
And
are the most interesting
It
guy.
felt so good to be shaving my head, just half of
I
it.
remember. I think.
Oh,
Where
I
did you
just thought-
shoot that?
And my garage.
Yeah. So your garage. I wish I could take people to that. They'll get to watch the documentary and see this.
Yeah.
But is really you call it your garage, but it is your art
Well, now I have a studio.
You have a studio, good. Well, you should. But
the
forever.
garage is still
But I
pretty
remember
good.
the garage back in the day. I remember going over there just, like 30, 20 years ago when I was just a kid going, what the hell? Charlie's got the wildest, it was a studio, really.
I don't
it was
know
just
what-
junk and stuff and tinkering and, right?
I don't know where it came from because my dad was a truck driver and my mom was a beautician. She fixed people's hair. And so I
Back
don't
when you got
know-
your hair fixed.
Yeah, that part is
Right?
done.
Then my mom would go get her hair fixed.
I don't know where this other stuff comes from. I really have no idea.
It's
None.
just, but whatever. You've been able to be smart enough and be able to understand. I think my son has that, this ability to kind of, and maybe I guess I do too, but the ability to sort of see an idea and find a way to monetize it, quite honestly.
Right, exactly.
Right? Figure out, there's something here. This whole podcast thing kind of can get monetized. It's turned into this really great platform, and I just sort of followed that, we did it really because I wanted to see how to advertise digitally in some new ways that were new platforms, and I didn't want to try it out on a client and screw up. I wanted to do it on my own, and it's turned into this great place where everybody
That's
wants to be
what
on it and
happens.
stuff. And he saw that. I didn't see that.
See,
I didn't.
what
I didn't
you
even
paid
know what I
attention
got.
to
Well,
him.
I trusted him, and I was just
Right.
like, he's
Not
got that
all
look in his
parents-
eye, and
not
he
all
knows what he's
parents
talking
know
about.
that.
Yeah, I guess, but you have had that knack.
David Lynch, who I really respect.
Yeah, who spent some time in Spokane?
Yes.
Did you know him?
No.
Okay.
A friend of mine did a lot of work for him. He said that when you get this little idea flies in, and it's not going to be when you're at a seminar or when you're in the think tank or when you're trying to get an idea.
No.
It's going to be when you're in the shower.
You're pulling something out of the fridge at 2 a.m.
Right, or weeding the garden or whatever.
Right.
And when it's there and it has that, like the look on your son's eye, when you see that, it's not going to be there very long. So you need to make note of it. Remember it.
Always. I always
and
write
then
stuff
take
down.
action on it.
Yes.
And almost be obsessive about that
That's right.
action. So obsess on something that seemed like the littlest, stupidest thing, but it had you caught a glimpse of something.
Yes, you felt it. And
you
knew.
felt it with a part of
And
you that there
knew.
aren't words for.
Yeah, I can tell. We both have that.
Yeah,
You just know.
for sure.
You know that great book, Blink. You ever read that?
Of
Blink?
course.
You know in a blink, right?
Right.
There's a great section on that. I've talked about it on the podcast, but there's somebody faked a painting, famous painting. He found the new Da Vinci or whatever, and all the scientific gear said it was legit, but the old art dudes that knew that forever, right?
Right.
Looked at it and went, something's wrong. They didn't know
Exactly.
what, but they knew in a blink it wasn't right. And,
Yes.
And then, they sold the painting, and then they finally years later go, oh wait, it was a fake, and they could figure it out. That
Yes.
in a blink, right?
What you're saying is so true.
It's that kernel of inspiration.
You got to be able to if you're gonna. The glimpse doesn't last long, and you got to catch it, and then do something with it.
That's exactly right.
If you think that it needs to be there repeatedly and vehemently and in your face all the time
Trust
in order
it.
for you to take action on it, then you're just beating a dead horse.
Right.
Everybody
And the
else
joy
is
goes
doing
out.
that.
There's no
goes-
joy there.
That's right.
And it's not yours, so why doing it?
That's right.
Yeah, you're trying to. If you can't copy anything. I
It
don't
is
know how
good to
copy
connect
anything.
with you on that
Yeah,
level.
no, it's true. And the other thing I remember was you did this bit with your nose.
Yeah,
Oh my God!
that worked out pretty good.
So you ended up on the Tonight Show at least, and
Three
probably
times.
3 times.
Yeah.
With the nose gig, so you would do this.
You want to
gig.
know
how do you describe
weird
this?
that was? A friend of mine,
They're gonna use that all over that documentary.
he's not for sure. He's not married anymore, but when he was back in the day, he bought a camera and an editing deck. And it was pissed his wife off really bad. And so he asked me, will you come to my house and make videos once in a while? And then Kathy will, because she liked me, he said, then she'll think that the camera's okay. I said, great. So I went over there.
That's such a weird logical run.
Yeah.
But okay.
And
You said
so
yes to life.
I said yes to life. I could get my hands on a camera, and someone was expecting something, and I didn't know. It was like someone was expecting something good from me. And I thought, well,
That's rare.
that's rare. It is. It is. That's right.
It was then.
And so
Oh my God.
the very first session, one of the things we did was the song Love Boat and My Nose Thing. And
Brilliant.
and then,
So just to describe this for people who are listening,
well,
you get a piece of plexiglass.
right, and I don't move me, I just move the plex, and it makes my nose
And the
go.
gift of the greatest gift of your life was this.
I have a flexible nose, and I'm a drummer, so I could keep, I had some sense of rhythm.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
so-
you're Ringo.
Indeed. So we made this thing, and then the KXLY had what they called the KXLY Funny Video Contest, and it was on the noon show.
The noon show.
Right. It was such a
Noon
boring,
show.
horrible
Yeah, it was
thing.
a horrible show.
And
The
so
noon show.
I thought
So,
I'm going to
right up there with Dialing for Dollars. You remember that?
Oh yes.
Dialing for Dollars.
Gotta enter the noon show funny video contest, and I thought
Got it.
I'll win with this nose thing.
Hell yeah.
I got it made. So I entered and I won, and I got to be on the noon show, and I have the show, and it's.
You got the video?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's
Oh, it's
those documentary
pathetic.
guys are loving you because you kept
I
this
have
shit.
saved everything.
See, that's the key. I know.
And so we're on there, and I gave her a hostess fruit pie because she was the hostess of the show, and they said for winning, I got to be on the show. I also got 10 free video rentals at a store in Coeur d'Alene. Like you're gonna drive there and get it, and then you got to go back to bring it
a
back.
local store in
Right.
Coeur d'Alene.
So I figured, forget that. And she said, and we'll send
Video
your
unlimited.
We'll send your video to a Hollywood producer. And I said, I'm quitting my job today. When I get out of the KXOY studio, I'm going home and quitting my job. Well, I didn't have a job to quit,
But you
but
said
it got a laugh. And like 3 days later, I get a call from this Hollywood producer, Bob Booker, and he's for real.
No way.
Yeah, and he
See, you
says-
get these. You've had this charmed thing, man.
Wait till you hear the end of this. And he says, okay, I want to bring you and your wife down to be on this ABC late night pilot and called the Noel Edmonds Show. And so he flew us down there, and he paid us a couple $1,000, which I thought was
That's great, man.
was-
Whatever year that was.
that was 2 months' pay for me.
This is in the 90s or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. 80s, 90s.
Early 90s, late 80s. And so I went, and I was on this show, and it was great. It aired. And Joanne and I just thought, well, we've won, life.
Right, that's the coolest. Right, like
It's-
when I made the movie The Basket.
Right.
We got to make this movie, and we won Movie Guide's Family Movie of the Year, and so. We didn't make any of that in LA. We did it all here.
Right.
I got to go to LA. I mean, I'd worked there before on other stuff, and I have filmed there. But I went down. We just went in, got in the limo, walked in,
did your thing.
won the thing, red carpet, had a great dinner, went to
You proved what
and then
this-
came home.
The documentary is kind
the
of
best
about
part.
you can do this from anywhere.
You can do this
even
from
Spokane.
anywhere. Yeah, even in the 1980s,
So
100%.
so then, like 6 months later,
You and I
get a
have both
call.
done it from here.
Indeed,
Yeah.
still doing it.
Yeah, still.
In about 6 months later, I get a call from a guy in London saying, I was on the crew that shot that show you were on with your nose in Los Angeles, and we want to bring you out to London to be on a show.
I think
out
I
here."
remember this. I
And it
remember
was
you
called,
going to London, and I was like, "What is Charlie going to
I
London?"
can't
for?
remember the name of the show.
But it was like a talk show in
Yeah,
London.
yeah. Like the Tonight Show.
Like the Graham whatever show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we went and did it, and it really went over. It was great. And then,
The Brits would love that gag.
oh, it was great. And then when it aired, which was like a month later, that
Very Benny
night-
Hill. Very Benny Hill.
Very Benny Hill. My fax machine was just going all night. I could hear it, and I thought, boy, I'm going to have to buy a new roll of paper. Something's screwed up. When I got up in the morning, it was job offers from ad agencies in London saying, we saw your thing
Wow.
on the thing, and we want you to do
Wow.
commercials for us.
Wow.
And so I ended up getting a commercial deal
Wow.
for candy bars called Dime Bars. And they flew us to London. We did that. $60,000 for a day.
Dude,
So now I'm
this is
now
this is
two
late '80s, baby.
Right, 2 is not seeming like that much anymore.
No, it isn't.
And so then here's the punchline. This is the part I was telling you. You got to wait for it. Shortly after that, I was still doing graphics, and I still do graphics for money for anybody.
Yeah.
KXLY had me come in and do something for their weather map or so. I don't remember what it was. And they said, "Did you ever know about the real deal about the funny video contest?" And I said, "No." And they said, "You were the only entry."
Why am I not surprised?
Do you believe that? You were the
Wow.
only entry.
Wow.
And I didn't find it out for years.
That's beautiful. That's
And
even
then
more
the
beautiful.
nose thing went, I got an agent in LA, and then I've traveled, I've been to Europe like 23 times for that act.
Are you kidding me?
And South America, I've been to Buenos Aires twice,
Oh
Chile,
my God.
Mexico City.
And then Tonight Show.
Tonight Show,
Twice?
bunches of times in Japan, and all because I entered a contest that no one else entered.
See, that is this sort of beautiful life.
It
right?
is. It is.
Because
It
I
makes
actually,
me-
before you got here, I wrote a couple questions down. That you've built a career on not taking life too seriously.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize how
If I
big it's
did,
been.
I wouldn't live here. I would have had to move.
You would have had to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I had no idea all this has happened.
Well, one of the theme part of the theme of the documentary is that what happens when a guy like me stays in a place like this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be able to say to the interviewer on camera, one of the things that happens is you get somebody from LA to come out here and make a documentary about you.
That's true. Because in LA or anywhere else, you're just a dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
I've always felt like that too. Like, just be here. You know,
I don't call me
right.
whatever you want. Call me a big fish in a small pond.
Me too.
I
don't, whatever.
do not care.
I don't either.
I like but being not inundated with mainstream material.
It's true.
So I'm not trying to compete
Right.
with
Well,
everybody.
so here's a question. I've had this. I've offered this to several people. Jess Walter, the author, was my next door neighbor for 8 years.
Say hi to Jess. I know
Yeah,
him.
he's great. Anyway, he coined it. He and I talked about this years ago, and he said there's something about Spokane. You know, you got Jess is one. I think he's won the National Book Award.
He has done
He's
it.
probably the best novelist in America. Let's be
Indeed.
honest, right now, really, and
For sure.
Tim Egan.
Yep.
You know, Pulitzer Prize winner, New
Yeah.
York Times, phenomenal dude, right? You got Sherman Alexi's done incredible stuff. Julia Sweeney's from here. I mean, there's a bunch of people that have done big time stuff that all came from the same Spokane
Right.
kind of
That's
values.
part of the documentary too, is things that have come from.
Because I've had right, and so he sort of said this one day. He said we're, you know, there's something about the fact that we don't. I think the way he put it was we're not obsessed with Spokane as a place where you're close enough to the West Coast, where we're comfortable in these cities. No big deal going to Seattle or LA. We feel really good there.
Right.
In fact, they like us there. We're refreshing somehow. We got
Right.
a little bit
We're
of
like the
Opie in
Beverly
us.
Hillbillies.
Yeah, we're a little bit, but we're cool enough to understand the Ed and talk
Right.
the language
You're
and
right.
have a
You're
dinner.
right. We're
and
not that dumb.
We're not intimidated by it at all.
We're not
But
that
we're
dumb.
not
We just can
Iowa.
play dumb.
Right. We're not Iowa. We're not the flyover states necessarily, but we understand them better than
This is
we understand them
Ohio.
better than anybody in LA does.
Yes.
Because people in LA are obsessed with how did this per screen average do in that movie, or
Well, they're
or DC, they're just talking about
They're
politics.
so
Or New
immersed
York,
in their act that they
don't
can't
even know what America is.
stand back.
So
to
we
see
have a
it.
sense of what America is, but the confidence enough to explain it,
Right.
and the talent enough to explain it.
Yeah, you're right.
Is there
That's
something
good.
about? Is
That's
that
good.
right?
I'm going to remember that. That's good.
And I
it's a
I
spot.
feel like that. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather be. I've never wanted to go to LA.
Oh,
I mean, I've
God.
gone to work there. I've worked there a dozen times.
Oh, it
but I
drives
want to
me
come
nuts.
home. You know, like
Me
this is
too.
there's just way better stuff
I want to
here,
come home.
right? This is America.
When I
We
go
get
to
it.
New York, and I have several occasions for gigs, at first it feels like the hot tub. You get in and you go, I am never getting out of this.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then after
Yeah.
a little while, you go, well, it's good, but you know, I'm
too far from the ocean.
Yeah. And
Well, New
then
York is the other
finally you
ocean.
go, if I don't get out of here, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Too much humidity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just need to get out of
Put
here.
me on the wing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care
No.
if I have a seat. Just fly me home.
Could not live there.
Oh,
No, well, Dave
God.
Zachariah and I talked about this because
Yeah.
he went and became this big shot too.
oh yeah,
I mean,
Mr.
big-
L.A.
Mr. LA, 2-time Emmy winner, did amazing stuff. But he's like, always in the back of my mind, I see what you've done and Dave Tanner's done and you've done and Jim's done. And I always thought, could I have made it here if I'd stayed? And I'm like, absolutely you would have.
For sure.
He 100% would have.
He
But
already
but
had.
He didn't know. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
And
He bought into it.
He bought into it, and I don't think he regrets a second of it. He shouldn't. He's done amazing.
No.
We didn't get to do
God.
the cool stuff he got to do, but I'm
The WB.
super happy being a WB, man. Third guy in charge. Like, he did some stuff. So, the fact that we get to be here and make a living at all is amazing. You've hit it out of the park, my man.
Well, he would and still does sends me. He watches. He knows what I'm doing.
You'll watch this thing
and
right now.
He'll send just a comment once in a while on
Facebook or
social
something.
media,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He'll just go, yeah, good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he knows how good he knows.
Yeah, we
he knows
connected
stuff that's
here.
good.
He was cool.
Oh, he was cool. Yeah.
Does he ever get married?
Yeah, he got married. He's got a daughter. He lives in New Mexico now.
Really?
Albuquerque, outside Albuquerque.
God, I'd like to
Yeah,
see.
because that's where everything's getting made now. Forget
that
about
right?
LA. Oh yeah, because there's a filming center there. So like Netflix Studios headquarters are in Albuquerque,
Wow.
not LA.
Well, all this writer's strike and
Oh,
everything.
I know. The actor strike too.
Yeah.
I mean, can you do stuff? Or you probably I don't have to
Oh
answer
yeah.
that. But
Well, I sometimes
had to be
if
sad.
I'm in a movie, they hook me up with it.
Sure.
But no, I just do whatever I want. I'm
what do you
Jed
love the
Clampett.
most about your life then?
That there's no demands. That it's just that I can do whatever I want.
There's never really been.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right.
Even when you didn't have money,
Yeah,
there wasn't.
you're right.
Because you made it so.
Yeah, that's a good one. What is it? Well, one thing that I really like is noticing other people who are having their moment and helping them along.
Oh, that's nice.
Just with a couple of words, just like when George Laisner said, "What do you think?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Be the
love-
inspiration.
I'd
man.
love to be
Me
that
too.
guy.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got
And it
some.
works.
We got some
I've-
amazing people here, and I'm 56 now, and having, but everybody's under 30 almost, pretty much. Got a couple people that are older, but I love it.
When you get that glimpse in them,
I love seeing that
push
and
it
going,
along.
hey, and
you get it back instantly.
Yeah, the talent these guys got and what they're going to end up.
Yeah,
I can
You're
see
the
it.
right guy to be
I
in
can
your
see that.
position.
Yeah, I think. Oh, good. Thank you. I appreciate
Not
that.
all,
Yeah,
that doesn't always
we had
happen.
an intern here. I'm hoping she can be on this. I've been trying to bug her forever. Her name's Kelsey Cook. She's been on the Tonight Show twice. Phenomenal stand-up comedian right now. Just
Really?
stunning and funny and brilliant. And she's built a huge career. I mean, she is really like on the precipice of something bigger. But even if she doesn't, she's a really successful.
Well-
and she was an intern for me. And I told her. I remember telling her this. And she headlined a gig here maybe 5 years ago. And I when she was intern for me, right when she left, I said, Kelsey, you're going to be a star. And she just went, what are you talking about? I go, I know what I'm talking about.
Doesn't that feel
You're going to be a
good?
star, because I knew it, and I knew that she would be, and whatever, maybe that helped, but damned if she isn't now.
Yeah.
And that feels great. Not
Oh,
because I
that
called
feels so
it,
great.
but because she needed, maybe it helped nudge it a little.
Totally.
And now she's just killing
Even
it.
subconsciously.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even get her on my podcast. Really, and she shouldn't.
Too good for you now.
Well, I mean, she's busy. She's she's literally the busiest woman in show business.
That's great.
Honestly. So what's your philosophy of art?
Mine? Well, just that I don't know the difference between regular life and art, but I do know that if it's exciting. How did I used to say that? I don't know the difference between regular life and art. But I do know that if something is interesting and motivating, that it's interesting. And so I don't know where you draw the line of if it's what's inside the frame or outside the frame. Who cares? When Warhol brought a can of soup from the A&P market to the Leo Castelli Gallery and made $1 million, that
Everything
line is
changed.
gone. Yeah, that line is gone.
Yeah, well, and you've crossed it all the time.
Thank you.
I mean, all the mediums that you've had, and the stuff, and the gear, and the oddball vintage items that you'd snag and turn into something. I mean, that's the stuff that I think is when I think of you, I think of that.
That's pretty
It's
accurate.
props as much as it is
For sure.
fine art.
It's whatever.
It's all of it.
It's whatever you want it to be. That art is just being yourself, and if you're doing it full blast, it will be. Then that's good, and if you're not full blast, then you should turn it up a little bit.
Right, and I still get to make art in what I do,
For sure.
but there is this line of commerce and art that we both walk.
Well, yeah. You mean if it's for money?
Well, yeah, and I really don't anymore. Don't have to do that.
No.
I won't.
Right.
And I don't think I ever probably did anyway.
No,
but I'm like, there has to be a reason why I want to tell that story, or it's not going to be good. I'm just going to be
Right.
shitty
That's right.
because I won't care. It
That
has
is
to be
right.
a project that I actually care
just
about.
being motivated by money is the kiss of death.
Yeah, no, it's never
All
the
the
right
things
decision.
that I've done that have ended up making any money were done without. The last thing I was thinking of was money.
There it is.
You know what I mean?
You absolutely know what you
Because
mean.
when I did my nose and the cat, there was no chance. I mean, there was just no chance.
The noon
anybody
show,
wanted it.
baby.
And
You owe it all to the noon
the
show.
noon show. And he said, "Did you know the real story on that?" And I went, "What?" And he said, "You were the only entry." And I just thought, what the hell?
How perfect is that? Oh my God.
It's like something from Ted Lasso.
It totally is. The whole thing is. Your whole life kind of is.
It is.
So what gives you the most joy then?
Well, my family, my kid, watching her learn and then having the opportunity to learn from her.
Yes, we're
Oh,
both.
man.
That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, she's just something.
My
And
kids are amazing.
I wish more parents were like us, because all kids are amazing.
They
all
are
people
amazing.
are.
Yeah.
It's never too early to start giving those nudges.
Right. Well, and trusting them. Like they
Trusting
know.
them.
They know. We try to beat it out of them, but they know.
Yeah, life is a tenuous thing. It doesn't last forever. And so part of enjoying that is the kids. I don't know what I would be doing if it wouldn't. Well, if it wasn't for her, I would have never digitized my videos,
Right.
for one thing.
Right. Which are now turning into a documentary about your life.
It's
who
the
gets
two
to
things.
who gets to have a documentary about their life? Like you and Picasso, whatever.
Yeah, it's the two things. Those two videos, the nose and the cat, have been my career, my claim to everything. And the only reason that they're not just some deoxidized tape somewhere in the bottom of a barrel is because I had a kid and I wanted to motivate her. I wanted her to see
That's beautiful.
how funny I could really be. But it wasn't for an agency or a TV show or something.
no,
it was
it
for
was-
my kid.
Right, which is even better.
And she dug it then.
Right,
I showed
right.
it to her.
So there's
She laughed her
there's sort
ass
of a
off.
fearlessness about all this. You've been pretty fearless. Like to be that guy in Japan,
Yeah.
to be that guy in Spokane walking around making crazy weird stuff,
Yeah,
and not
it's true.
not crazy, but
and not
but
worry
smart
about
it.
criticism.
Right, not care. Yeah, I always love that
And
line.
not be
It's one of my
embarrassed.
favorite lines. Is what other people think of me is none of my
Right.
business.
What are they going to think? And
It's
I go,
none of my
well,
business.
No, that's right.
It's not.
That is so well
It's
put.
true.
What other people think about me is
None of my business. It's not.
That's profound.
Yeah, I stole that, but I think about it a lot. Do you remember only a buck?
Oh yeah.
So were you part of that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was the star of it.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, Jerry Cook.
Oh, Jerry Cook. Okay.
Yeah, he put up the money
Right.
and really directed
It was a movie.
It was a movie. It was shot on film.
You guys shot that on film.
We shot a movie
I
on
remember
film.
only a buck.
And I have pitched it to.
That you have that? That's got to be in the documentary.
Oh, absolutely.
Has to be.
Oh yeah, they're nuts about that. In fact, I was hoping that the documentary guy would find some distribution for only $1.
Well, just wait.
So I sent. I know.
Just wait, brother. It's
It
a
could
world.
happen.
It's a global market now.
He talked about it. He said that scene.
You're a
where
global
you guys
superstar.
Pretended you had a drive-in movie and you're in the front yard, and he said that's good. And this is a big guy.
Oh no, dude. I'm sure.
You can see the whole movie if you go to. I have so many websites. There's one called Only a Buck, the movie, I think.
Nice.
And the
Well,
whole
yeah. So it
movie's
was a
on
movie
there.
that you guys just made, and then it was only $1 because why was it called only $1?
Well, because finally in the end, we're parked it down in.
We're giving this
LA.
away. So this is, for you big, only $1, we're about to watch this show. Turn
Yes.
it off now.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. It's at the end of the movie, and we're shooting some scenes in Los Angeles, and we're parked in front of the old studio of Jay Ward, who made Rocky and Bullwinkle.
All right.
And
Brilliant show.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm out of money, and I'm out of film, and the camera's mounted on the hood of the car, and the car's just a fucking mess. The car's
It's a
mess.
podcast, Charlie. You can swear like a sailor on this.
That's it. And I'm sitting on the hood of the car going, I don't know. And the cars, it's on Sunset Boulevard, and cars are going by, and Rocky and Bullwinkle, a statue, are back there just over my shoulder. I'm going, well, Rocky, I don't know what to say. I'm out of film. I'm out of money. We're out of time. I don't know what that deal. I said, in fact, I can't even remember what I said now, but it was something about, I guess, if a movie that's this low budget, we could let people in for really cheap, like only $1. And they go, yeah. And then it freezes, and the credits start going.
But your eyes too, man. You worked your eyes pretty well on a lot of that stuff, right? The face.
Yeah.
You've been able to. There are people who can.
I have
Who
used
can
my
be
face.
your face
Well,
has
it's
been
free,
phenomenal.
It is.
And
I don't
Yeah, but
lose
you know
it.
how to. You know how to do it.
And it was always
Some
with
actors
me.
can't, man.
Yeah, that nose thing. I used to, and when I was in art school at Wazoo, we'd go and study in the library, me and my roommate Carson, and at night. And I would be looking for something to do besides study chemistry, because I was bored.
Dude, yeah.
So I could put my face down on the desk and bend my nose over and keep it there like for 10 minutes. And then when I go up, it would just stay. I'm sure it would still do it. It would just stay, and I'd look around, and people would just go
How did
nuts.
you learn to do that?
I don't know. Just out of boredom.
Or pissing off one of the priests who's like, you're in trouble, a nun.
And that's how I realized that I had a very flexible nose.
And then you're like, wait a minute, I can do this.
Without it, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do that routine.
There's no way. And without that, I mean, it's all connected, right? You could not
Have you
unconnect
been to my
this
website?
stuff. No.
Oh,
But I will.
CharlieSchmidt.com. Yeah, there's so much stuff there. So much, but it's nothing compared to the documentary.
I love that I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
And we just sat down and
Right,
it's
right,
better than
right.
if I'd,
You're curious.
Well, I just thought I knew, and I knew you were doing stuff, but I was curious. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
more curious. Better.
Oh, the nose and the cat just have gone nuts. And
That
I
is
still
so
do
rad.
graphics for some people, but I don't really try to.
No, you've never tried to do anything. You've all allowed it to come your way.
Yeah.
You
it's
have
the
let
truth.
go, right?
And with the cat, we never pitch somebody. We don't
No.
go to Google and say you should have us be in a commercial.
Right,
in the
right.
Super
No,
Bowl for it.
yeah, it
It
doesn't
wouldn't
work.
work.
It wouldn't work anyway.
It's got to be that there's somebody in a
That
meeting
found it.
who saw
That's
it and
exactly
fell in
right.
love with it
That's right.
and sold it.
That's right.
And you go, and then
Yeah.
you don't have to sell because they
No.
already bought it.
There's no selling anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has this happened to you? This had to have happened to you. But I had this experience over the last maybe 20 years or so, where I'll have friends that are attorneys, or bankers, or chemists. The guys. Not that they weren't destined to do that, but that sort of got to this point in life where they went, "Oh, I wish I was doing what you're."
Oh yeah,
You know,
I
can,
get
can
that.
I got, hey, I want to write a screenplay, or, how do I do what you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do what I do.
Yeah.
I'm not
You
really
better
have an
step
answer.
on it 'cause you're
You
getting
gotta hurry.
old. Yeah,
Exactly.
hurry.
This is a young man's game, kind of.
Yeah.
So does that happen to you a bunch?
Not a bunch, but it does happen.
And so what hits you when that happens?
Well, I feel flattered.
And grateful, right?
And grateful,
that you
right.
took the road you took.
Indeed. And occasionally there will be somebody who is just insanely jealous. And I run into a guy
That's funny.
down at I
love that.
What's the steam plant? I was down there having lunch one day.
Yeah, steam plant.
And I was leaving, and a guy walked up that I went to Gonzaga Prep with, and he went, "Charlie, how have you been doing?" And he goes, "I've seen some of this stuff you've been doing," because the cat wasn't anything yet, but the nose was, and kids club and stuff. And he said, "This is what he said." He said, "Did they ever pay you to do any of that?"
Do they?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they do.
He is hoping that they don't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
He's
know what
hoping
you
that
mean.
he could go home and tell his wife, "I ran into the guy we see on TV all the time, and he doesn't make any money." We're in the chips,
I made the right choice.
Yeah, I'm working the parts counter at Napa. And but he really said that. I don't get that much, but I could tell he was just so jealous. And I don't take pleasure in it.
No.
But I was definitely.
It's more of a relief, isn't it? Are you going to try my whiskey?
I want some.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
You want to pour it?
No, you pour.
All right, I'll pour it. You got to give me your glass, though. I'm going to have some, too. So this is Amador whiskey that we pretend is a sponsor of this podcast.
One thing I'm
just because
finding
it's
out.
funny, right? It's funny. But I do want your apps. I want your. So you have to do a taste test now.
Oh, my pleasure.
This is you got to decide. There you go.
Thank you.
Give me your critique.
My pleasure. I know my booze.
This is.
It smells good.
I mean, right?
Is this local?
No. Napa. The Amador taste test with Charlie Schmidt.
It's good. It's got great flavor.
It's damn good, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't want to swallow it fast.
No.
That's some whiskey you want to get rid of it and get the benefits.
No, you savor this guy.
No, I let it go
And
all
it doesn't
around
burn
my tongue.
or anything. It's like honey, right?
No, it's strong.
Oh yeah, it's real. They age it in oak wine barrels.
It is kind of like honey.
It's like honey, right?
Yeah.
Dude, cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, what a cool deal to connect with you just today on this.
Well,
level.
I've been trying to get you to do this for a while, and I thought,
I never look at my
I go,
messages.
what's Charlie doing? Charlie's not doing crap.
On Facebook, I
Crap,
just
you're like the
never even
busiest man in
think about
the
it.
world doing this stuff. I
It's
had
pretty
no
busy.
idea.
It's pretty busy. For the last 3 days, I've been working on my hot rod because they wanted to shoot some scenes in and around the hot rod.
So you have pictures of your hot rod. So what is that? Do you just tinker? Or what made you love it?
When I was a kid, I had 3 older sisters, and they all had boyfriends who had hot rods.
They were cool.
Yeah, and so I those cars would show up in front of the house in 32 Ford with a blown Chrysler Hemi in it.
Wow.
And then my dad was a sucker for it. He loved it, and so they'd light them up, smoke them for him. And I just fell in love with hot rods. And then finally, my one sister had a boyfriend who was building a hot rod, and he's dead now. But he sort of adopted me and took me every night after school for 5 years and all my weekends to his garage, and we built this car. And it was really a kick-ass show car. We won awards all up and down the West Coast, Oakland, Seattle, Portland, you name it.
Wow.
And I learned about cars and about fancy cars, show cars, and so then I fell in love with them, and I've always had
A project. Are you handy a tinkerer?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you can fix anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're pretty much fearless about that.
Yeah, you got to be because they're breaking all the time.
Yeah, I had Jack Delahanty on here from G Prep. Was he there when you were there?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Because you should watch that podcast. It's really great. Because he was sort of like you. You know, like he was the anti dude. Like his boss would tell him forever, you have to wear a tie. And he's like, I'm not wearing a tie. I work in the theater, dude. What are you talking about? I mean, do you have any memory of that? Because that seems like another.
Oh, yeah. Google keyboard cat burns rubber. Just Google
Keyboard cat.
burns rubber.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that is good.
Isn't it? Hey, Zach. We lost a light. We're almost done.
And turn it up.
Dude, these are well produced, man.
Thank you.
The little shoe. Wow.
He stole my car.
So, how old is the cat? Are you getting it? Do you have more than one cat, or do we not get to ask this?
This is what they ask me when.
Right, because what happens when Keyboard Cat isn't no longer with us?
The reporter her name was Jeannie Moose, and she does Jeannie Moose
On CNN.
Yeah.
She's like the greatest.
Yes, she is.
Jeannie Moose. She's like.
She called me one
She's
day.
incredible.
And then when this thing just started happening, and she said, "This is Jeannie Moose. I work with Wolf Blitzer on the Situation
She
Room."
is absolutely
She
hilarious.
said, "Do you know why I'm calling you?" And I said, "Nope."
Am I in
"Well,
trouble?
It has something to do with your cat." And I went, "Oh, really?" And she said, "Do you know what a meme is?" And I said, "Nope." And she said, "This is going to be a good interview." So she interviewed me, and it was on the show that night. So
Oh my God! You were on a Jeannie Moose did a thing on you. You were.
I got it too.
Oh my God!
And so
You're
she
incredible.
said all the things that were happening, and then she said, "But you shot it in 1984, and here we are in 2009." She said, "Does the cat know how famous he is?" She said, "Wait, that cat's dead." And I said, "Yeah." And she went, "Oh my God." So if you Google Keyboard Cat is dead, there are 5 pages of websites about it. And Jimmy Kimmel did a tribute to Keyboard Cat.
No way.
Yeah, the cat's been on.
I feel
Jimmy
so
Kimmel
out of
thing
the.
so many times.
Oh my God! I love Jimmy Kimmel.
You'll like
Jimmy Kimmel's fantastic.
You'll like the documentary.
Wow.
And so, so then I had to deal with it. The cat's dead, but then here's a cool part of this story too. Kind of like that, I was the only entry in the contest. That then we're selling this thing like hotcakes. The first 2 months it was out, we found an outfit in the East Coast, Skinny Corp, that had sold $340,000 worth of Keyboard Cat T-shirts.
Oh my merch, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Without our involvement.
Ooh,
So then
uh-oh.
I got a lawyer, and he went with them, and he got me a check for $90,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, sure. You should have.
And so then
That's
my
incredible.
manager, I had some merch out there then by this time, and I'm doing a variety of things, and I called my manager one day and I said, "What should I do to try and make more money?" I said, "Should I do more T-shirt designs?" And he said, "No, you should go to the pound and get another orange cat
Yeah.
and
Keep
an
going.
old keyboard
Keep going.
and do this again." And I had never thought of that.
You hadn't?
And so I was like the guy in Close Encounters where he's shoveling dirt in the kitchen window, and he knows it's right so much that he doesn't give a shit about anybody
How
thinking
nuts
he's
it
an
is.
idiot.
Yeah.
That's how I want to feel every day.
Right.
And so I dropped what I was doing, and I got in my car, and I started going to the pound. And there's a scene in the documentary that's animated about this.
Oh,
this story.
sure. They hear your voice.
And
you talk about it. It's so cool.
my forearms were just ribbons from auditioning cats and getting the shit scratched out of me.
How did you know when you found the right
He didn't scratch me.
keyboard cat?
Yeah.
Keyboard cat 2?
And I found him, yeah. And we're on 3.0 now.
No way.
And so
You wore long sleeves the next time?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't need one right now. But when Ben told me to just go and find another cat and do this, I spent a week looking for a cat, and I found one. And I had the scars to prove it. And the second day I had the cat, I put a blue shirt on him, and I made a new song, and I did it. And within 2 days, and I posted it, Microsoft gave us $15,000 to use it for 6 weeks online to promote some new software of theirs. And I was so naive that when Ben said, we got a $15K deal from Microsoft, send them a dub. I sent him the original one of the old cat. And then he called me back and said, hey, you sent the wrong one. And I said, they want the new one? And they did. And so now I tell people, when my manager Ben tells me, paint your butt purple, I just go and get the roller.
Well, see, that's the thing. You've had some really good advice. You've had some, I think people don't realize, although to you and I don't think I've ever worked a day.
Yeah.
Have you?
No.
I mean, I've worked and I've stayed up till 4 in the morning and I've done stuff.
I got tired.
I got tired.
And I sweat.
But I don't, it's never felt like a job.
No, I want to always feel like, that's my yardstick, that I'm that guy in that movie shoveling dirt in the kitchen for the deal.
Right.
If it makes other people think I'm an idiot,
Who cares? I've done it right. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, we started doing these silly promos for this podcast. And we had a nun, Sister Madonna, the running nun. Do you know who this is? She's 92. She's the oldest woman, oldest person to finish the Ironman in Hawaii.
No.
At 89 years old.
Oh,
and she lives here. She lives next to my sister. She's been a part of our family forever. She come over for Christmas dinner.
Man, she's better for the church than the Pope.
Phenomenal. Just incredible. Didn't start running until she was 40. She just finished, she's 93 or 4 now. She just finished another one in Milwaukee. An Ironman.
I love it.
And so she was on here. She was one of my first guests, and she was just
really.
Oh yeah, you got to watch it. It's just phenomenal.
Oh man, I would love to.
She is just fantastic. So I talked her into doing a promo for the podcast. So I race her. We have a video where I race her, and I got the headband on, and she of course beats me. But those things, I was like, oh, should I be doing this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely. It's silly and fun.
Yeah.
Like well, we were just telling you that we just did this promo for Amador Whiskey, this pretend promo that they're a sponsor, and it's me doing the Lost in Translation thing in Japan, right? Where I'm Bill Murray and I do this thing, and we just put out a photo and it kind of blew up,
Well, you got production value at your disposal.
I know, it was fun. Right, I better use it.
Yeah.
And so it was just fun, and I'm like, we've been talking about doing that, and finally did it. It turned out great, and it was just like, I'm not getting paid to do it right now, but
that's
maybe.
So cool.
Who cares?
You got free production value, like big muscle production value,
big time,
at your disposal, which really is nice.
Let's anytime you want to use it, Charlie. Let's go do stuff.
Thank you. We
Seriously.
will. I'm serious too. I was at a GU thing not long ago, and this one guy said that he was about half drunk, and he's just funnier than shit. And he says, he's a white guy, and there were all kinds of colors of people around the table, and he said, I use my white privilege for good.
Ooh.
Isn't that cool?
I guess.
I mean, that he tries to help.
It's still cringy.
Yeah. Oh, it's cringy.
It's horribly.
It's inappropriate.
It was inappropriate as hell.
Everything is inappropriate.
Yeah,
now.
that's true. No, that's true. Well, but those promos have been fun. And then I told you about that, and you're like, oh, you must have lived that in Japan. That scene where Bill Murray is being yelled at in Japanese.
I did the nose thing.
And you have no idea what they're saying.
I did the nose thing for commercials in Japan for, it was for air conditioning cleaning service. and when I got there, they had hung a piece of glass that probably weighed 1,000 pounds. It was an inch thick, and it was hung from these chains in a studio, and it was all lit, and they were ready for me to do my deal there. And I said, well, this isn't going to work.
This is not going to work.
I don't move. The glass moves. And I couldn't even reach the edges of it.
No.
Right.
It's stupid.
And then they're just going nuts. Oh, and I did a show in Mexico City where they thought that I really could do that without the plexiglass. For sure.
Of course they did.
I've gotten a handful of jobs
it's pretty
that
believable.
way.
It's pretty, like, you're like, what? You could just do
the
that.
60K one in England, they thought I really could do it.
No way.
They did.
I love
So
that.
anyway, I'm in Mexico City, and I'm setting up. I learned that all these studios are air conditioned. So you take a piece of glass and you put it here, and you breathe out on it once, and you got steam.
Yeah, it's got to steam. It's got to
So
be
I
warm.
developed a little heating unit that was run by a light bulb, and it looked great. And you could barely see it on stage, and the glass would go in it and warm up, and then on cue I'd pick it up and do this. So I'm doing this show in Mexico City, and I have this thing set up, and my interpreter Hector comes over, and he says, the director, he's sitting over there in a chair with some other big shots. He wants to know, what is this? And I said, well, that's the glass. And he said, well, what is it for? And I said, well, it's to make my nose move.
You're fired.
Right. And they've already flown me to fucking Mexico City, which is a long ways.
Yes, it is.
And I've already spent
That's a big
2
boy
days
flight, man.
in a hotel. And so they're in deep.
They're not turning this ship
Right.
around.
They need this act. And so he goes back and he tells the guy it's to make his nose move. And he comes back and he says, he wants to know if you can do it without the glass. And I said, no.
No one can.
So he goes back and he comes back and he says, he wants you to just do whatever your best is without the glass. And I said, well, this is it.
Yeah, oh my God.
And he went back
That's a
and he
tense
talked to
moment.
the guy, and their arms are going like this, and he comes back and he said, the glass, it is okay.
I bet it is.
And
It worked.
But I did tell him, ask the guy when he saw my demo reel, did he believe that I could really do that? And if he did, does he think that his audience is smarter or dumber than him? And that's what turned the deal. I
bet.
never did talk in person with the director. I don't think he spoke English. Hector was bilingual. But I wasn't sweating because I knew, hey, man.
They're in.
You
They're
already, right. I got my return
See,
ticket.
that's the thing. You're savvy through all this. You kind of just know, right? The other thing is, you have worked hard. You've worked so hard on these
I
sets
have.
and this
It's-
gear and this stuff, and
It's not easy. People
it's
think
a lot
it's easy.
of work.
People that do
They
understand
don't know how
and
hard
see the
this.
shit.
Everybody's listening to this, going, "This guy's got the easiest job in the world. Things just come along."
Oh,
it's like
God.
whatever. You've worked your tail off. How
I've
many
spent
late
so
nights?
many
did
nights
you
and
work
weekends
in the freaking garage?
doing my thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not going to quit now.
You're sort of, you can be a slave to it, but it's also the joy of it, right? It's why it's part of breathing.
Google keyboard cat true story. Speaking of
I've
production
never
value.
Googled anything. The burned rubber was pretty freaking great. True story.
True stories. Keyboard cat true stories.
Oh my God. I'm just so delighted by all of this.
Oh,
I just called you because I was like,
you're
Charlie,
perfect.
man.
You're perfect.
I just want to know what's going on with Charlie. Like
Hey.
the best part of this podcast has been I get to catch up with people I haven't seen in a long time.
Make
'Cause
sure
when would we other
that I'm
do that,
surprised that they didn't that the production company didn't contact you guys to potentially
Right, why
do some
didn't
shooting.
they?
I don't know.
We just shot a cool documentary not long ago.
I don't even know who they got, but they're using some local people.
Keyboard Cat True Stories.
Yeah.
Keyboard Cat True Internet Cat.
No, just true stories.
The Keyboard Cat story you never knew.
I don't know it. There it is. True internet. There you go.
True
The
Internet.
top one.
The top one.
Watch some of that.
Oh my God. This is.
Remove objects in your photos in 15 seconds.
There goes the ad that
Just drag
I.
your finger over any object and boom,
That's
it just
what we do. A lot of that.
This video is well produced.
Well, I can't even find it. I lost it. Sorry. Keyboard Cat True Stories. I got to subscribe, first of all, which I am.
Right here.
That? This is E.
Fatso Schmidt, aka the Human overnight internet sensation. The cat's first public performance.
So how did you do this stuff?
1969.
No, I didn't. Just somebody
The
did.
cat doing its stuff. Did you just like do this thing? Oh my God, this is hilarious.
Hi there.
So you would just do stuff with the cat and then film it?
Just that. Just that one.
Just that one?
One take.
One take.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Cat wouldn't put up with it.
Great. So what's next for you? You know, like what keeps you what's your next passion? What's your next thing?
Painting.
Really?
Yeah.
You're turning into George W. Bush and
Yeah, kinda.
and Tony Bennett, who just passed away. You know,
I'm working.
that is your favorite.
It is my favorite. I'm working on a series now called Icon Anomalies. And they're anomalies of the human species that then somehow have become icons, like
you.
me. So, for example,
Wow.
Curly in the Three Stooges, Granny on Beverly Hillbillies.
Yes. Right.
And dozens more, and I have already painted over a dozen of them.
I need to get one. I want an original Charlie Schmidt. I do.
Well,
That
come
would
to
be
the
so
show.
great. I'm gonna
Make sure
absolutely
on the
come.
29th that you're there.
I will totally go. I'm
and
honored.
you will
to
be
go.
asked to sign a release because the crew will be shooting.
I'm down.
I can't wait.
Oh my!
It's
What
gonna
a
be-
cool. How does this make you feel? You know, you're on the back nine here, 72,
Yeah.
but you're still
It
like
makes me feel
15.
like I'm on the right track. Like I got no regrets.
Haven't you always felt like that though?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're good at noticing that when you ask me what's cool about things now, and I tell you, and you go, but you've been doing that since you were fucking born.
You have.
But it's the truth.
Well, so here, the other question, I could talk to you for hours, but I need to let you have your life back. Although you still got some whiskey, so I'm going. Did your parents get to see any of this?
Oh yes.
So tell me about that and what they, that phone call with the big pause.
That's a great question. I hope that
Because that
interviewers
generation,
ask me that.
right? I had that same generation. When were your parents born?
My parents were born in Spokane.
When? Do you know the years?
In the teens and 20s.
Yeah, my parents were born in the late 20s. So we understand that great generation in a
They're
different way. Right?
poor immigrants.
Right.
Italy and Poland. All my grandparents came from.
Mine came from Czechoslovakia and Croatia.
Hey, here's one you're gonna like. My grandma came
In fact,
over when
Swoboda
she
means
was
freedom.
really.
Yeah.
You're gonna love this story then, Mr. Freedom. My Polish grandmother Louise came over. My grandfather was already here and working for the railroad for several years. Then finally, my grandma and her mother got together a few bucks to come to America.
That's kind of how it was. You came over
The old man
to
came
bring everybody.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my grandma was 15 at the time. I don't know how old her mother was. And they were dirt poor. They just had crackers and they puked all the way and they rode in steerage with animals. And when they got to Ellis Island, I don't know if you know the story of how they would mark people's sleeves with codes.
No.
Well, they had a marker, and they would mark like if you had scoliosis or pink eye or
Bless you, Charlie Schmidt.
thank you or anything. They had a code, and they'd mark your sleeve. And if you Google it, you see the codes. They have them on there, and then the museum there they have it.
I mean, you're talking about thousands of people coming through every
Right, right. And then some of the codes meant it's no big deal, you can come in. Some of them meant you're going to have to stay in the infirmary here until we dry up that infection you got. Mm-hmm. Some of them meant we recommend surgery, which was really dangerous. And some of them meant you get back on the boat and you go back to Poland. And so they marked my great-grandmother's sleeve, and Grandma and her didn't know what it meant. They just knew it might mean deportation.
Damn.
So then they would put them all in this room called the Great Room. And later in life, I went to Ellis Island with my wife, and we experienced this. And it validated the story my grandma told me when I was a little boy. And she said, when they got in the Great Room, they had all their belongings tied up in like a bedspread or something. And great-grandma took off her shirt. It was wall-to-wall people, and with the mark on it, and let it fall to the floor and put on a clean shirt, and they marched right into America.
Wow.
And
She
that's
doesn't know whether she would have been sent back or not.
And that's how Keyboard Cat got to America. It is.
Yeah. Well, the old country, right?
And then later, when I was an adult, Joanne and I went to Ellis Island, and sure enough, there was the code of all the things they marked and the pictures of the people waiting in the Great Room to get sorted out. And I just thought, fuck, Grandma meant that.
She
When
did.
She told me that story.
Damn right
it
she
was
did.
True.
Yeah. So that little moment allows all of this to have happened or not.
That's right.
It is amazing how it comes down to like one thing that you or I have no control over.
That
got us
moment
to
was
where
like
we are.
being the only guy to enter the funny video contest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know. It's this
I've
chance
been very
moments, right?
lucky. I've been very
Yeah,
lucky, and I think there will be more.
There's luck, but there's also creating that.
and to
right?
add-
you do create this.
To answer your question was,
You do
what
create
do my
this.
parents think in
Yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
later
What-
years
yeah,
of
what they
this?
think.
Was my dad said to me when I showed him the contract that I got in my fax machine from England that said, we want you to do these dime bar commercials for 60 grand. And it said UK, United Kingdom, when they referred to England. And I showed it to my dad in my yard in my house that I have now. And he read it and he went, son of a bitch, that's a lot of money. And he said, what's UCK? He did. And I said, it's the United Kingdom. That's England. And he went, oh. And he hauled all my art shows before he died. His truck, he would take me to the airport for my gigs, haul all my art shows. Everything was just great. And there's one great story that you got to hear about my old man, about aging. Was my old man believed in stealing shit. If you could get away with it, he would even steal shit from me. I caught him with my wedding ring once.
Well, that's how you survive, probably.
It's true.
I mean, yeah.
And I told him once we were building my garage, that one for down on 9th, and we needed a few more sheets of plywood, but we only needed 3. And we went out to, I forget what it was called then, it's Lowe's now.
Yeah.
And we paid for 3 sheets of plywood
Home
up
Depot.
front. And then in those
Lowe's,
days, you'd go
Lowe's,
around the back and
Pay and pack.
they'd load you
Or
up,
something.
pay and pack. And they'd load you up from your receipt. So we went around the back, and there was nobody there. So we loaded up 3, and he looked around, and he put 3 more on, and 3 more. And now the back of the pickup's kind of going down like this. And I said, Dad, we only paid for 3. And he goes, don't worry about it. So pretty quick, the guy starts walking over towards the truck, and he says, get in. So I got in, and he just starts, we drive away. And I said, Dad, aren't you worried about that? And he said, he can't catch us. And I said, but what about karma? And he said, what's that? And I said, that's where when you do shit to people that's not nice, that it
comes
catches
back
up
10
with you and it
times.
comes back to you. And you know what he said? He said, it better hurry up. Because he was in his 80s. It better hurry up.
Yeah, what does he care? You're going to throw, I mean, really, you're going to put another 80
And
on
then we just went home with all the plywood.
Wow. And that's that generation
wasn't
too,
a bad
though, you
guy.
know? No, but he sees an opportunity. He wasn't going to miss it. Right? There's a difference there between, it wasn't premeditated. Come on.
It better hurry up. No, they really supported me in my
That's
art.
great. I wondered about that, like how they would see that. And
Yeah,
then-
I wondered
I bet
about
it was
it, too.
different though after that check for 60 grand. He must have said, "Oh,
It helped a
okay."
lot. Oh, for sure. Because to him, money did talk.
Well, it does. I mean, that's the job of a dad, right? That's the job of a dad. It kind of is.
You're a good interviewer and a good listener.
Well, you're a good everything, Charlie Schmidt. Thanks for being on the
Hey, you're welcome.
podcast. MIP Podcast was filmed at the studio of Corner Booth Media. Please sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere podcasts can be found.
We'd love it if you'd rate, review, and subscribe to help our podcast grow. Be good to yourself and stay interesting.